can't believe it was only 300 days ago.
It's the final episode of Confessions of a Recruiter for 2024. A bittersweet moment as we wrap up the year and go through all the magical and exciting moments that we've had. Dec, what was it all about?
I can't believe it was only 300 days ago, but essentially what xrecruiter was at the time, I think there was 4 staff, about 15 partners. We're onboarding sort of 4 partners a month, and we're wrapping up 2023 thinking, wow, 2024's, there's an opportunity here. I think we need to do the right thing by our partners, by our team, and actually go full pelt into xrecruiter.
So what a lot of people don't realise is that Declan and myself only started full-time in xrecruiter this year. So last year, we were part-time, still working full-time hours, but we were working in our own recruitment agencies and xrecruiter, simultaneously juggling both businesses at once. It was extremely challenging. And then we got a bit of a fork in the road moment where we thought we need to go hard at xrecruiter and grow it into what it needs to be to make it something really special, and as you see it today. So Dec went full-time xrecruiter in January this year. He was the first to make the leap, to commit, to go, that's it, I'm going full-time. He handed over the reins of Blended to a good friend of ours, Geordie, who now still runs Blended Employment to this day. xrecruiter only had 4 staff. Pretty crazy. What else? I think we're at like episode 40 or something by this point at Confessions in January.
Confessions, yeah.
Yeah, so this year we've done 60-something episodes of Confessions, which is pretty magical. So that was a big kickstart to January this year, big kickstart to Confessions, going full-time in both of those. How did our first quarter wrap up, though? What happened in the first quarter of this year? February, Vendito moved into the xrecruiter office. We started getting a little bit more serious with Confessions. Sergi really upped his podcasting game where he was doing run sheets. He was getting organised, reaching out to guests to come on the pod. A lot of people see us turn up every week, which is nice, but having an in-person guest-based interview styled podcast is actually quite challenging and takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy. There's a lot of podcasts out there. Most of them, 99% of them, are online. It's just people Zoom calling each other or video calling each other and whacking it up as a podcast. However, we do things a little bit differently here. We try and get people in person content, and make it all quite real. So it's been a massive effort, and congrats to Sergi for pulling off something very, very extraordinary. I went full-time in February. In January, Dec goes, mate, I'm having so much fun. You need to get on the ship too and go full-time. Why don't you come and go full-time at xrecruiter as well? And I thought, geez, I can't let Dec have all the fun. So I came full-time in February, which was one of the best decisions I think I've made. March, we began the launch party campaign extravaganza for xrecruiter. I'm not sure if everyone remembers this, but we were pumping out recruitment agency launch parties almost every week. We averaged 4 a month. So basically every single week for about 6 months, we were launching a new recruitment agency. And we certainly started creating a bit of a stir in the industry around new agencies consistently launching. And then I'm going to sneak this one in for April. April, we went to Fiji. That was a pretty good,
Incredible trip.
Work trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
good
what
conference.
a bit of a work conference, that one, that we've said to the partners. But 5 of the top xrecruiter partners were able to go to Fiji for about 4 nights. It was about 4 nights, wasn't it? That was a really nice moment, bit of a getaway with our partners to celebrate the previous year. And then we cracked on for May and June with obviously a massive end to the financial year, which I'm sure we'll talk about the AFR shortly. But for the first 6 months of this year, it was head down, it was bum up, it was plenty of podcasts, plenty of launch parties, plenty of growth at xrecruiter, going from 4 staff to 15 staff in that 6-month period. So we were making a new hire every couple of weeks to try and support the growth of the agencies. And that was the first 6 months of the year.
Yeah, and also the Cost Dog came on in April.
Cost Dog!
The Cost Dog came on full time. So everyone's benefiting from his support, his charisma, and his knowledge of the recruitment industry. So he's a formidable force here at xrecruiter, and that's when it all became real. changed from CEO to CGO,
CGO.
Chief Growth Officer.
Yep, love that. And he's he's amazing. His leadership, his authority, his credibility, his skill set, it really complements and is what I think is that one of the main contributing factors of why all of the agencies at xrecruiter are so successful. Putting aside, we get them started, we make it easy, they've got us to rely on to help keep them focused. But then they've got Matt that they can lean into as well when they're getting challenging technical recruiting situations that they can just call Matt and go, hey, I'm about to pitch a tier 1 client. Thinking this, I'm thinking that. What are my blind spots? Matt can go boom, 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 get them prepped, get them prepared, get them confident, and then they go in and win business that otherwise they likely wouldn't have won. So really appreciative of Matt and bringing his skills to the table for all our partners to access. July. What happened in July onwards, Deck?
Mate, I think our flight hours would have been up over 50, 60 hours by now, time in the sky. And then July, we were kicking off the new financial year. So it just meant more partner performance, more refining. I think this is when we changed our onboarding process. We started looking at what our partner success team would look like. We did our workshop with that as well with Arnie. So that was a lot of value, and getting more clarity and processes improved and put into xrecruiter. So it meant partners could flourish quicker, get the results thereafter, and be able to scale their teams, which is so fortunate for many that have.
Yeah, so here's some stats for you all if you're interested to learn about maybe some of the key stats of xrecruiter. On average, it took us probably about 16 to 17 weeks to launch a recruitment agency. So a recruiter would come to us, they'd go, look, I want to start a really good agency and I want to operate at the highest level. They come to us. As soon as they join, it took us about 16, 17 weeks to get them up and running, which is like 4.5 months. And that is with a team of like 10, 15 people working on their agency full time. So there's a lot of man hours that go into making sure that your agency has no blind spots, no weak spots, and it's set up for long-term success. However, that's a really, really long time for someone that wants to make a life-changing decision to kind of sit around and work at their current agency for 4 months while their agency is being built. Now, we've sped up that process to just under 9 weeks. So we've been able to almost cut the onboarding time and setup time of people's agencies by half, which is really good, which is why we're being able to help so many recruiters so quickly. So that's really fun. And the average billings of recruiters in their first 4 weeks has increased by 55%. That's because we have a new onboarding framework, which is essentially a 6-week sales sprint. When your agency goes live, we put you in a 6-week rhythm where you're catching up with Matt every single week. You've got tasks, you've got focus, you've got big rocks that you need to achieve in that first 6 weeks, which gets you pumping on all cylinders and is an amazing start to your business to get heaps of momentum really, really quickly. And then you can continue that momentum throughout the year, which is half the reason why most agencies with xrecruiter beat industry norms is because they have this really hyper intense 6-week onboarding process with Matt to get them firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's huge. And then coupled now with the experience of Taryn joining in September, everything is just getting better and better, faster and faster, and more exciting for everyone involved. And the recognition xrecruiter and the wider group gets across all business communities is next level.
Yeah, it was actually a really nice moment. Recently, I had a few quite senior people in recruitment, quite well known, actually reach out to me after the AFR win and say something thereabouts to the effect of, it seems like all the best recruiters go to xrecruiter and operate really good businesses. So congratulations on that. So we've always known that to be true internally at xrecruiter, and the xrecruiter partners know that to be true. But for outsiders and ultimately well-respected people in the industry to now start saying it out loud back to us was a really good moment of affirmation and a really good moment where you'd be really proud to run an agency with the support of xrecruiter, because people know you're running a really efficient, profitable business with high integrity, and high impact. So it's now starting to shift from the guys that start the agencies to the guys that
The guys or the Cowboys?
the guys, the Cowboys, whatever you want to call it. But we're now moving from the business that launch agencies to the business that help recruiters run really premium, high-end, high-impact recruitment agencies. So that's going to be our legacy on how well these agencies run, not just how quickly they get set up.
And interesting, the amount of existing agency owners we're now onboarding to help support and improve their business operating rhythm, profitability, and performance as a whole. So it's really exciting, that part. I always envisioned that being something that xrecruiter would do. Obviously, you need runs on the board and proof in the pudding before people are willing to work with providers they've never heard of or experienced before. So it's really fulfilling being able to help existing agency owners now, not just recruiters starting from scratch.
Yeah, maybe if I can give a bit of context, I don't want to get too off on a tangent here, but I think this might be good content or good listening for maybe existing agency owners or recruiters looking to make the leap. The reason why we help recruiters start agencies is because generally recruiters are in a growth mindset, coachable frame of mind to want to level up their life, which makes it really, really easy to set a high standard from day one, to set high values, high outputs from day one to make them really successful. We get a lot of existing agency owners reaching out to xrecruiter and going, how are these recruiters just turned business owners being able to be so successful so quickly? I've been running my agency for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and I'm not even doing half of what the numbers are of these new agency owners. How is this possible? What's the secret sauce? Can I be a part of xrecruiter? Can I bring my agency under xrecruiter and have you guys help? Now, generally, the sticky part of that is, and I'm not generalizing to everybody here, but most of the time, existing agency owners, one-man bands, solopreneurs that already are running their agency for a number of years, they're in a rut. They're in a closed mindset rut where they're hypersensitive to every little thing in their business. And most of them think the way that they do it is always the best way because maybe their previous agency used to do it this way. So now that they're doing it this way too. And the challenge on getting an existing agency owner who has a fixed mindset and has a really low bar of output to get them to where they need to be is somewhat challenging because they're stuck in their ways. The 5 agencies that existing agency owners that we have brought into xrecruiter that are in the process of launching, they are the exception. They are very open-minded mindset. They're very coachable. They're in this moment of their life where they acknowledge that I need to make some dramatic changes to my habits, to my output, to how I'm doing things. I really want to get better. So just a little bit of context on like why more agency owners don't kind of come through the screening process of xrecruiter is because most of them, unfortunately, through no fault of their own, but they're kind of stuck in this like low tempo, low activity, low performance attitude, and they think that they're beyond doing the work almost, which is a shame because like there's a lot of people out there that could, and you know, there's a lot of people out there that could do really, really amazing, impactful things, but unfortunately, once you've been 3 years of just doing really low levels of activity, low levels of input, you know, skimping around on your business, working off an Excel sheet, you know, running off the smell of an oily rag, to then completely transform your activity, your output, your structure of your business, the expectations put on you. A lot of people get a little bit fearful of that and go, you know what, I'm just happy, you know, billing my 150K a year, my 180K a year, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because the thought of getting held accountable to a higher level of output is too uncomfortable in confronting. Anyway, I digress.
So guys, like a big thing we're doing a lot lately, like you would have all seen Matt's webinar last week. You would have heard it on last episode. We had over 60 people attend that webinar and the feedback was incredible. saw a lot of posts come out, personal DMs on, some of the things that they were saying was it's the best training they've ever seen in the industry. And this was a 2-hour session that Matt ran. So this is just the tip of the iceberg on the knowledge that we've created, the learning and development we provide here at xrecruiter. So we want to be able to showcase that to the wider recruitment community. So next year we have a travel plan that is so tight and regimented, and is going to ensure that the 4 of us, including Taryn as well, is going to be in every single state each quarter. So we've got a huge expectation of getting a lot of face time. So that means we're going to be doing multiple podcasts in every single city. So if you're a recruiter out there, you're a high performer, you enjoy listening to the podcast and thought, what would it be like to actually be on here? We'd love for you to be able to come on the show. We've got a lot of people already booked in in Melbourne, so we can't wait to do that in the new year. And being able to provide more training sessions. They are going to be a mix of free and paid training sessions, depending on where you're at in your career. These will involve one-on-one small group masterminds that could be high ticket events with guest speakers and that type of stuff. We will be doing larger events like we've done here with Confessions Live a couple of times now with 30, 40, 50 people attending, breakfast training sessions. So, breaking down all areas of the recruitment process, even doing business owner activities, delegations, mindset, ice baths, all these things that have absolutely transformed our lives this year in 2024 and our partners. We want to be able to, provide an opportunity, a platform for more people to experience this abundance and success. And that's why we thought events would be a great way to bring the wider, we obviously always do partner events and we're very proud of them. But being able to bring the wider community together as a whole, I think would not only level up the recruitment industry, but make recruitment not something that you just sort of fall into and make it a chosen career. It's always been our goal and aspiration before xrecruiter for that to happen and run great businesses and be proud to be a recruitment agency owner.
Totally. Yeah. So next year's the schedule is going to be packed. It's going to be much more organized. I feel this year was very very ad hoc. It was, this is on, we've got to go here. This is on, we've got to go here. But next year it's going to be much more streamlined. It's going to be more regimented, more routined, and definitely any recruiter listening who believes that they know someone or they are someone who would be able to come on the podcast, add a bit of value, tell your story, then we would love for you to reach out and get you on the potty. Okay, we won also Excellence in Business Innovation Award from RCSA.
That was our first award of the year.
It was the first award of the year. So last year was Startup of the Year.
Yep, Australian Startup of the Year 2023. And then this year is our first and only and probably ever industry award. So we're really proud to be able to be a part of the RCSA, get recognition of what xrecruiter is. We understand we ruffle a few feathers, but all in all, we focus on building incredible businesses, doing the right things by people. And I think the longer and longer we're in the game, the more people will understand that and appreciate the hard work that every person puts into xrecruiter and ensuring the success of every agency we launch.
100%. Now, the last 6 weeks, they have been extremely full on. What have the last 6 weeks entailed, Dec?
Hey, well, Serge has 4 pages of it just talking about the last 4 weeks. So it's been hectic. I think the first thing we should kick off would be the trip over to Perth. That's sort of where this bull rush began.
That's right.
We had one of the top performing podcasts ever with Jade and Andy Williamson. So 4 good friends getting together, having a chat. They are clear leaders in the WA Perth recruitment market and also on a national basis. Like Ivani's done incredible growth. Andy's completely exceeded all of his expectations in his first
Andy's a beast,
4 months of business. Yeah. And I just like the depth that they go to with sharing their experiences. And then obviously Rhiannon. Shout out to Rhi for getting her Rising Star or Trailblazer Award.
Trailblazer.
Absolutely crushed it. So it's great to catch up with her, and also Zach and Ruby at One Recruit. So we're excited for what has been an amazing time in Perth, and I think next year is going to be even bigger for all of those agencies. And all in all, just seeing the personal growth of everyone. Ruby and Zach, where they started 6 months ago to where they are now, it's phenomenal. The calmness they bring and everything like that is a huge shift in their own mentality and the way they look at business. And everyone's going from strength to strength. So shout out to the whole crew in Perth. It was good to be able to have a dinner and some drinks and go quad biking.
100%. Yeah, that was really fun. To be honest, I sometimes don't enjoy going to Perth because it's so far away from Brisbane. But the trip that we had in Perth recently, it was like so
the
different.
travel time.
Yeah, it was so different to like previous trips where it's like full on, like bang, bang, bang. We've got all this stuff to do. You're over, you're back, and it's really quick, fast, and intense. Where spending like 4 days there, was it 4 days?
5.
Spending 5 days there. We're in a nice area.
North Perth.
Oh, Deck just
Airbnb
pulls
king.
through with the goods with the Airbnb booking.
We all got our own beds. It was epic.
Yeah. It was the first time Deck and I slept in different rooms.
For the year.
Yeah.
Serge was a bit angry about that, but
yeah, Serge missed us. But so the Perth trip was really awesome. Going quad biking, hanging out with the partners, going out to dinners, all that, doing content. Like, it was just really, really fun, wholesome. Really enjoyed hanging out with the Perth partners. Then we went to Sydney. Sydney was really good. We hung out with the Sydney partners as well. Did a little bit of content. Went to that really nice beef
barbecue house.
Oh boy, that was awesome. Some of the partners meeting for the first time. You know, Sydney is our actual. We've got the least amount of partners in Sydney. It goes Brisbane, Melbourne, Perth, Sydney, which is strange because Sydney has the most amount of recruiters in Australia, and it's our least populated, partner state, I guess you could call it. So I think Sydney's going to be definitely on the cards next year for growth, for partner growth. We've got some absolute gun recruiters, some of the best recruiters in Australia, launching in Sydney come January. So keep your eyes out for that. They're already looking at offices to share together. So if you are a recruiter and you're in Sydney and you've thought, geez, what it'd be like to be a part of the rocket ship, create my own destiny, start my own agency, then reach out. We can put you in touch with some of the Sydney partners and you can talk to them about their experience and how they've found the whole journey. And then we went back to Sydney again. It was a couple of trips to Sydney in the last 6 weeks, actually. And this time it was for the AFR. Now, AFR, Australian Financial Review, was very gracious enough to put our partners in the paper. So
front page
and back page and full back page
and online.
They're
everywhere.
They're everywhere. So obviously it's nice to win the AFR and be the fastest growing company in Australia. But by proxy, all that means is that the agencies part of xrecruiter are the fastest growing agencies because we are just a vehicle for the agencies to perform. So ultimately, what this really means is it's actually it's a nomination and it's a win for our partners to recognise all the hard work and all the grit that they go through to run their businesses. I wish when I started my agency 7 years ago that I had something like xrecruiter. That's why we're so passionate about it, because the volume of success that they're able to achieve and the fulfillment and the mistakes that they don't need to make anymore because they're all guided by a support network to help them focus on what matters it's insane. These our Sydney our partners in general are achieving more in their first 6 months of business than I achieved in my first 3 years. Like, the learning curve is crazy. So I love the fact that on the AFR that our partners were featured. We had H People, we had Gain, we had Industry Talent, we had Harwell. A lot of partners actually came up in a lot of the in the advertising, which is really, really nice. So we got 2,384% growth, which is pretty impressive. Our first trading year at xrecruiter, first full trading year was 25,000. That obviously was a net loss of a year. We had one partner, and that was Jimmy. James from Hallisoft, our first OG, he was the first person that we said, hey, James, would you be open, this is 3 years ago, would you be open to trialing this new thing, being our partner and seeing if this crazy idea works? And James gracefully accepted that and allowed us to make many, many mistakes on James to iron out the kinks, the issues, and how this whole model would work. So our first year in business was basically $25,000 in total revenue, which was our first year. Second year, 900,000. which was a massive jump, obviously, to the first year. Pretty impressive results. Officially launching in our second year of business, and then obviously last financial year, it went from 900,000 to just over 16 million. So obviously pretty crazy numbers, and numbers only achievable from the success of our partners, which we're really, really proud of.
And I think statistics wise, so there's 1,500 applications or entrants every single year to the AFR. So that's how many people enter, and only 100 get the award. And then last year they had the fastest growing winner in history, and we were the second fastest growing company in the history of the award.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a good point. So over the last 10 years of the AFR, xrecruiter came second in the last 10 years, fastest growing. Last year it was someone that it was like some sort of tech firm. They did 3,000% growth. They started with 10,000 revenue and finished on 15 million. We started with 25,000 revenue and ended on 16 million. So technically, it was actually.
If only Jimmy got a counter offer and didn't do a deal or something, we would have been the fastest growing in literally history.
Yeah, so I think the numbers on AFR, it really comes down to what your starting point is, because we obviously ended higher, but they started with half the amount of revenue, from 10 to 20 grand. So it went from 2,000 to 3,000%, which is crazy. But so just from a growth standpoint, second fastest in AFR history, which was super, super impressive. And then what else happened? Oh, our flight got cancelled. Oh, what a punish.
But everything happens for a reason. We met our boy Johnny.
KPMG
partner.
Yep, KPMG, 30 years, absolute legend. Gives back to cancer
research.
So
raised over 80 mil.
Yep, 80 mil. Jesus, what a beast.
Yep, in the last 16 years. So it was, you think at times you go, oh shit, we got the Legacy Awards the next day. Chaos is happening. We're doubling up the trips again. We're unprepared. Our flight gets cancelled. It's 10:30 at night. We're trying to have to find a new place. All the hotels are getting booked up because there's 500, 600, 700 people in the same position, with multiple cancelled flight across all airlines due to staff shortages. So guys, they said it was weather, but they only say that because they don't have to pay your accommodation if they say it's from the weather. So it was from staff shortages. And so we're all scrambling to get hotels, and, everything happens for a reason. You end up building a relationship with a partner at KPMG. So shout out to Johnny if you ever hear this podcast. and then, it was the Legacy Awards, our first ever awards. Mate, I was so nervous. I was hoping people were going to show up. We put it together. We had it at Fume Rooftop Bar. One of the hottest nights I think I've ever had in Brisbane. I was scared to take off my tux jacket. It was a steamy night, but there was fireworks, the celebrations of all the winners, the nominees, and it was definitely surreal. I think last year there would have been 20 of us at a Christmas party, and with the partners and stuff, and then this year there was over 90, and I think only 60% of the partners were able to make it because a lot of people launching new businesses interstate. So it just reinforced how much the community means to xrecruiter. Hearing the stories, the impact, me and Jory shared a couple of tears, and those moments is what makes xrecruiter so special, and the lives that this is literally changing, the trajectory and the impact that this little business has on everyone it's surreal.
100%. I have to say that it's been a jam-packed year. Podcasts, awards, traveling, big milestones being achieved. I'd have to say that the Legacy Awards night was the most impactful and exciting and best moment over the last 2 years that I've had at xrecruiter.
Yeah,
that's a big call because we've done a lot of shit. The Legacy Awards night was really a special moment where all the partners got together, some for the first time, coming from different regional locations, and really seeing what it's all about to be a part of xrecruiter. And I think it really solidified it quite a lot for a lot of partners who are looking for that community, who are looking for people to lean on and share their wins and lean in and help with their losses. And it was an amazing night where everything felt extremely real at that moment. A lot of finalists for these awards. I've got to be honest, every time I go to an awards night, they say things like throwaway lines like, this was a hard judge this year to figure out who wins these awards. And I just think, bullshit. Like, you're just going to say that. But what what's that really like? And being on the receiving end of having to judge all these agencies, we could have given out dozens of awards for their own right. So because everyone has just gone through such transformative moments in their life, they're pushing themselves outside their comfort zone. They're achieving things that they never actually realized were possible. Everything is really changing hard and fast for the partners. And it's just amazing to watch them go from employee mindset to keep it in their own lane to just hitting their threshold for the quarter and just cracking on and, having a one-dimensional frame of view to then all of a sudden becoming a business owner and being more creative, more passionate, more excited, more fulfilled. It's an amazing thing to witness and be a part of. So I think the Legacy Awards night was the best moment of xrecruiter in the last 2 years. So if you want to be a part of the best moment in the last 2 years next year, then either be a partner or if you're a partner, come along. Okay, and is that it? Is that basically what's been happening? Chrissy?
Yeah, we got Christmas time. So we did something on the weekend, which was another major impact moment. We partnered with Lighthouse. So Lighthouse is an amazing charity out of Logan, which is changing the way people shop. And it sounds really simple, but unfortunately, groceries are getting that expensive where many families are struggling financially, and being able to pay the full ticket prices at the major outlets is becoming too difficult for most of us. So we partnered with the Fit Club, which is Blake's gym that he goes to, that Dimitri runs, and then also Chris's IGA at Carindale. So between them, ourselves, and xrecruiter, it was an amazing day. We picked up packages of food, gifts, toys for the kids. They've been in operation for 9 years. And then on the 18th of December, all the kids are going to come in and experience what it's like to have a Christmas, as most of us all know and can appreciate. So it's a full service impact that they offer, and it's an amazing charity that we were fortunate enough to be a part of. So we donated, on behalf of every single partner here at xrecruiter, we donated 81 packages this year in support of Lighthouse and Santa's Little Helpers.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to give back, to help less fortunate families, have a better Christmas. So to be able to do that and be in a position where we can do that and feed 81 families who don't have the money for groceries this Christmas, then at least they're going to be eating well with their family and enjoying the Christmas holidays. So that was a really nice moment that we're all going to share probably in the next week or so when that content comes out, and you can see what we've been getting up to kind of give back to the community.
All right, so that's the year wrap up. I hope you all got definitely some value out of the year and what we're building here at xrecruiter. So I just want to give a huge shout out to the team on showing up. They are relentless day in, day out. So we appreciate everyone's hard work here at xrecruiter. Our partners, without you being out there on the front line and the backbone of small business for recruiters, none of this would be possible. You're achieving your dreams. You're proving what's possible. You're going to get into the status quo and carving out your own name in the business sector, which is just life-changing. And the wider community, unless you guys listened to this podcast, got behind it, shared it, downloaded, spoke about it at lunch, none of this would be possible, or even came on the podcast as a guest. So we appreciate everyone, putting down the phones to come in, have a chat, and really make this industry what it is today.
Recruiters, have a great Christmas. Enjoy your holidays. Rest. Spend time with friends. Spend time with family. And maybe give yourself a little bit of space to think about what you're going to do for 2025. Because if there's anything that we've learned here at xrecruiter and at Confessions, it only takes one small action to change your life for the better and to live the
dream you always wanted.
Live the dream you've always wanted. I was struggling with my words there, but better together is a hashtag that we have here at xrecruiter. And thank you for jumping in, Deck.
Yeah, and just remember, the smallest action will always outdo the greatest intention.
Love that.
So if you're going to finish the year off that, never forget that phrase. Merry Christmas. Thanks from Declan and Blake. It's been a massive year.
Thanks for tuning in to another Confessions of a Recruiter podcast with Blake and Declan. We hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value and insights out of this episode. If you do have any questions or you would like to recommend someone to come on the Confessions podcast, we would love any introductions. And remember the rule of the podcast: like, share, and recommend it to a friend. Until Till next time.